भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ।
Dear friends, we had studied in great detail shloka number 40 of the Mundaka Upanishad, if you count it continuously from shloka 1. Section-wise, we had covered shloka number 8 of the second chapter of the second Mundaka. The shloka was Manomaya Prana Sharira Neta Pratishtito Anne Hridayam Sannidhaya Tat Vijnanena Paripashyanti Dhira Ananda Rupam Amritam Yat Vibhati. We have spent quite a lot of time on this shloka during our last discourse. Just to quickly refresh our memory, we remind ourselves that in this second Mundaka and the second chapter, Maharishi Angirasha is placing before us what are the disciplines that we have to perform so that in the long run we achieve our desired goal. What is that desired goal? To be one with God. There is no other goal in a life of a pursuer of spiritual wisdom. We must achieve our goal, that is oneness with the divine. Now these are the words that we hear every day 1,000 times. And being phonetically, sound-wise acquainted, each one creates their own idea. What is to be one with God? Maharishi Angirasha knows for certain that this mistake can be and may be or will be done by various students. So he leaves nothing to chance. He describes it in such a manner that you can't go wrong. What does he say? That eternal being, known as the Atman or the Brahman, or the divine, or call it by any name, that eternal being, the creator, the preserver, and the destroyer of the whole cosmos, at whose will the cosmos moves, that being is saturating your mind. Manomaya. How does he saturate in my mind? The explanation is very simple. I live in this world. I live with my 5 organs and I interact with the objects of the various organs, Indriya and Tat Vishaya, and the respective objects. And I keep on saying, I know, I know, I know, I know, I understand. I keep on saying, where is that modulation taking place? In my mind. And what I am saying, I know. He has saturated me and my mind. Why? The knowledge is an acquired knowledge, paroksha jnanam, through my 5 sense organs, but the process of knowing is an effulgence, lighting up a dark corner. I didn't know. I know now. I know. What I have done? I've illuminated my darkness of not knowing, and now it is known. Effulgence of knowledge has removed the darkness of ignorance. Manomaya, and it is all in my mind. Why so? When I go deep into sleep, dreamless sleep, shushupti, then nothing remains. When I wake up, I say, oh, I slept like a log. I knew nothing. The world had disappeared for me. The mind had disappeared for me. Only there's a thin memory of I am. It comes to my mind on waking up. I slept without any dream, and I knew nothing. It was such a happiness. Sukham aham asapsam. I slept like a log without any dream. And kinchinna vedisham. I knew nothing. The world didn't exist for me. Thereby we can say the existence of the world and the knowledge of the world is coming from my mind, and which is saturated by the luminosity of my soul, the Atman. Chaitanya Swarupata, awareness of myself. Prana Sharira Neta. Neta is a leader. The leader leads. What does it mean? That this gross body dies one day, and somebody takes me out of this body, and I remain in my subtle body till I get back another body to work out my destiny, to be one with my God. This cycle goes on. It is He who is eternally present. The body comes and body goes. He is the Neta. He is leader. He is always there. He takes me out of the gross body, brings me back to the gross body, keeps me in the subtle body as long as He pleases. Manomaya prana sharira neta pratisthita adde. It appears, it is everywhere in this gross body and the world. But where I can feel His existence, it is theoretical. He's everywhere. But where do I feel His existence with a direct perception? He says, Hridayam sannidhaya, samyak nidhaya, sannidhaya. San means a prefix, nidhaya means very properly placed and ensconced. Irremovably placed. Where? In the core of your heart. Here, Hridaya does not mean the anatomical heart which is on the left side of your chest, upper left side of your chest. Not that anatomical heart. Hridaya here means the seat of awareness from where I say, I am, I exist. That is deep down in the core of your being. I am, I exist, I am. That is why I illuminate the world and I say, I know. The effulgence, the light, the splendor of my true origin nature, the Atman, lights up everything. Hridayam sannidhaya. Good enough. This is how he is defining, and he is asking us to stretch our imagination to the farthest extent and dive deep within yourself and see where this experience of I am, I exist arises. That is the place where you can catch him. The rest is all imaginary. You can't get hold of him, you can't catch him, you can't ensconce him within yourself. Hridayam sannidhaya. Good enough. Then he says, tat vijnanena. By knowing which, or by knowing whom. Whether you use neuter gender or masculine gender, it's immaterial. It is beyond gender. Gender is in the gross body mind. It is. Tat vijnanena. Tat jnanena, knowing through my 5 sense organs. What is vijnan? A special type of knowing. What is that? I am. I need no sense organs to help me to know I am. Rather, I say I am, and then I say I have my body, I have my sense organs, I have my mind, I have my intellect, buddhi, I have my ego, I am. They all belong to me, excepting awareness of my amness. Rest is all mine, but I am. And I never say my body. I always say my body, my life, my sense organs, my mind, my intellect, my ego. They are all mine. I am. Ownership is not there. It is self-evident awareness. Sa samvedya chaitanya. Tat vijnanena. Knowing in it as it is. Vishesha jnana vijnana. What is the speciality? I see everything with my eyes. When my eyes are not functioning, the avenue of knowledge through seeing does not exist. It's indirect knowledge. Without my eyes, I don't see. So it is indirect, dependent on functioning of my eyes. I am. I exist. You need nobody's help. It is self-evident awareness. Self is swa, evident is samvedya, awareness is chaitanya. Self-evident awareness, sa samvedya chaitanya. I am. When you know as I am, that is my true original nature, and I paripashyanti, I know it in such a manner that that is my true original nature, and my true original nature is the essence of the universe. Paripashyanti, parisamantat pashyanti. What is that pari? Pari is a prefix which means all pervasive, all permeating. There's not a speck of space where he is not. That is how I see. Now, remember these three formulas which I have told you while studying the Upanishads. These formulas you do not have the luxury to forget. Please, for heaven's sake, never forget. What is that formula? The first is Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. This is what a realized soul experiences and he proclaims to the world. Sarvam, all inclusive, no exclusion, all inclusive. Khalu, I swear it is verily true. The knower of the self says, I tell you verily, truthfully, I swear, all that you see around yourself, seeing including the other four perceptions, all that is perceivable in this cosmos is nothing but Brahman in its essence. What does it mean? Nama, Rupa, Guna, Artha, Kriya, Karitya, Bihaya. Bihaya means totally gotten rid of. Whatever remains, remains. Paripashyanti. Who sees it? Adhira Purusha. Dhira here is plural. That means it is available to one and all. Plural number. Not a singular number. He doesn't say dhiraha. Dhiraha. Plural. Multiple. Each one of us have the right to know that. Each one of us. But who is a dhira? Dhira is a purusha who is sadhana chatushtaya sampanna sadhaka. What is that? Nitya vastu viveka. He knows what is real, what is unreal, and he educates himself not to run after the unreal things, but to concentrate on the reality hidden behind the appearance, these four concepts, name and form, qualities and utilitarian value. Hidden behind it, the eternal isness, existence. Nitya anitya vastu viveka. Ihamutra phalabhoga viraga. Iha, in this life. Amutra, in heavens. Whatever the joys that are promised to you, you can enjoy the world. Be healthy, wealthy and wise. Enjoy this world with your 5 sense organs and your 5 active organs. Or you enjoy in the heaven. I am tired of it. I don't want it anymore. I've thrown it out. It does not exist in my vocabulary. It does not exist in my vocabulary. Enjoyment of the world, here and hereafter. That is Vairagya. Samadhamadi Shat Sampatti. Sama, Dhamma, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhan. 5 disciplinary attitudes that one has to pursue in life. A person who has mastered all these and over and above mumukshata, an intense, unstoppable desire to reach the goal. Unstoppable desire to reach that goal. A person with whom these attitudes, these ideas have become spontaneous. The quotient of effort has disappeared. Today I am a sadhaka. What does it mean? I am trying to perform with my effort and willpower certain disciplines and attitudes of life. I am a sadhaka. While continuously performing it, I am creating a force of repetitiveness which is known as habit formation. Repetitiveness forms a habit, and that habit converts itself into an unstoppable force. And we say in our worldly life, pardon me, it's a force of habit. I am a slave of the force of my habit. If this is so, then why don't you make yourself a slave of habit? What type of habit? To be aware of the presence of God every moment of your life. And because of your past, you're forgetful. As soon as you remember, you're forgotten. Bring it back and remember again. So what happens? The attitude of forgetfulness, because of my past way of life and living, that force of forgetfulness was a habit. I am creating a habit of remembering. Remembrance erodes into that force of forgetfulness. And slowly and slowly and slowly, the force of forgetfulness is totally neutralized, and I don't need any force anymore. It has become spontaneous with me. That spontaneity is a must item to be a dhira. Dhira. And what does that dhira experience? Ananda rupam amritam jad vibhati. That Ananda Rupa, ecstatic divine joy, which is our true original nature. And now that is covered up by all the dirt and dross that I acquire in this world, when I am a Dhira Purusha, all that dirt and drought has been wiped out, and automatically my true original nature blossoms forth. Ananda Rupam Amritam Jat Vibhati Vishesh Rupena Bhati. It manifests in such a manner all over the world. I am surrounded in this sphere known as the cosmos. My Ananda Swarupata has fulfilled this whole world, and I enjoy that Ananda which is immortal, measureless, endless. I am there. So, in this shloka, the first two lines, or the first three lines, describes, informs, educates, instructs. The last line he says, Ananda Rupam Amritam Jad Vibhati. The description, what will happen to you when you reach there. Now, dear, the most difficult part, the philosophical part, and whatever you may say, is almost over. From this shloka onwards to the end of the Upanishads, it will be an ecstatic, euphoric poem, full of examples, full of descriptions of a realized soul. Why so? Mind you, we humans are past masters in self-deception and hypocrisy. To prevent us from being hypocritical and self-deceptive, he gives us a yardstick, a measure. Measure yourself by this measure. If you fit into it, you are a realized soul. If not, you are still in the process of being and becoming. So, let us start on shloka number 9 today, which is our day to start. What does shloka number 9 says? Let us read it. Bhidyate hridaya granthi. First quarter of the shloka. First half of the first line. Bhidyate hridaya granthi. A. What is B? Chidyante sarva samshaya. That is B. Shiyante cha asya karmani. That is C. Tasmin drishte parabare. That is D. Let us start with D now. Tasmin drishte parabare. Having experienced that, here drishte means aparoksha anubhuti. What does it mean, dear? He says, parabare drishte. Tasmin parabare drishte. That. What is that? The object and the aim of your goal. The object of your goal or the aim of your life. That is why it starts with that. Not here. Starts with that. And how do I see it? That. Parabare. It is all comprehensive. It is all inclusive. It is all permeasive. There is not a speck of space of time where it is not. There is not a speck of space where it is not. It is everywhere. And how do I see that? By experiencing. That is, beyond the worldly process of knowing, I have now concentrated myself on knowing through by my experience. What do I know? He is everywhere. He is in me and I'm sorry. There is not a speck of space or an iota of time where he is not. Good enough. What are the other signs and symptoms in me at that time? How do I know I am not deceiving myself? And I'll tell you an incident a little later. Very, very homely, very, I would say, personal and private. But I'll share it with you, with all of you, the listeners. I'll come to that. Let me explain this. He says, what happens to you when you know that? When you experience that? What happens to you? Here is your yardstick. Bhidyate hridaya granthi. If we look at our lives as of now, there's knots after knots after knots bound together, and we are unable to unknot itself. Like a fishing net with millions of knots binding holes together. When we were children, there was a joke. Can you define a fishing net? Yes, I can. What is it? Plenty of holes bound together. Plenty of holes bound together. Hridaya Granthi. What is it? I am. I see this. I like it. I appreciate it. I admire it. And slowly, I like to possess it. Because I like to possess it, I am motivated towards it. I know all the detail, what is the price, what is the durability, where it is available, where it is cheapest available. I am tying myself for knots and knots and knots over. Till I go to buy, and if I buy, I am in cloud 9, and somebody breaks it, I am in deep depression. I am binding myself in knots over knots over knots. Once you know what is your true original nature, not the nature in which you live in now, you are identifying yourself with your body-mind complex, and the ball starts rolling downwards, gathering momentum and gathering moss. That's all that is happening. When you know your true original nature, this endless knotting yourself up will disappear in thin air. Hridaya Granthi Vidyate. All the knots of your heart will be torn asunder. You will be free. And what will happen? Chidyante sarva samsaya. There's a beautiful saying by one of the realized souls. I'll quote that to you, and then I'll quote an incident. What means sarva samsaya? The whole gamut of hesitancy, doubt and suspicion about that otherworldliness will be absolutely torn into pieces. They will have no capacity to bind. What to speak of binding down? They have no capacity to exist in your thinking, out of your mind. Chidyante sarva samsaya. What is it? Today, I have not realized God. God is an imagination. God is an illusion. The world is real. Tomorrow it is turned over. What is that? God becomes real and the world becomes an illusion. Today, the world is real. God is an imagination and illusion. Tomorrow, God is realized, is realization and experience, and the world becomes an imagination, illusion. That is Chidyate Vidyate Hridaya Granthi Chidyante Sarva Samsaya. There should be no place of doubt. This is one that I will share with you, dear. And I heard from the person who had seen it happening. He was not the person, but his colleague was. In ancient days, when the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna was establishing this Ramakrishna order in Belur Mutt, Calcutta, young boys, highly qualified, highly motivated, highly interested young boys, joined the order to be one with God. The discipline was every morning they should gather together, sit in the shrine where Guru Maharaj's relics were kept in the ancient temple at Belur Math and meditate according to the guidance of their gurus, whether it's Holy Mother, whether it's Sridharananda, Holy Mother, or others, direct disciples. One of them were very, very deeply involved, and he had a definite knack of deeply meditating. The tradition was, after meditation, each one of them will report to Swami Premanandaji, the manager of Belur Math, about his day's experience. He used to ask, "How was it, my dear child, today? How was it?" Each one. That day, that Swami had a very deep meditation. He has almost lost himself. He, from his understanding, he thought he has achieved samadhi, oneness with the divine. With a beaming face, when his turn comes, he falls flat on his face, touches Premanandaji's feet, and Premanandaji says, "It seems you have achieved." "Yes, sir, I have." "Are you sure?" "Yes, sir." "No semblance of doubt in you? Are you sure?" Baburam Maharaj Premanandaji kept on repeating the same question 3 or 4 times. "I see in your face, it is effulgent. Are you sure? Are you sure?" First, "Yes, sir." The second was a little low in confidence. The third was low. At 4th time he started stretching. "I think so, sir." "Then it has not happened. You think so, there's an element of doubt." It has not happened. When even if God comes and tells you it has not happened, and you have the conviction to say, "Sir, you are a busy man, you have to run the world, you keep busy. I know it has happened. Don't try to deceive me or cheat me or play tricks on me. You better go." That will be my stand. Chidyante sarva samsaya. Samsaya is suspicion, doubt, hesitancy, a shake in confidence. At the 4th time, "I think, sir, it happened." And immediately Premananda said, "It has not happened, my dear. It has not happened, my dear. It has not happened." And he quoted this from the scripture. Chidyante sarva samsaya. Shiyante chasya karmani. This is something very, very, very interesting. Shiyante. It is weaned away. It does not totally disappear. It withers away. You know why? Let me be very clear and let it be very clearly understood. Fact of life in the world's history, we see people having achieved that goal, oneness with God, deep oneness, they survive that trauma, and by God's will, they live in this world, like ordinary human being, and they preach this subject to others. And they say, I'm hungry. They say, I'm sleepy. They say, I want to rest. I want to go out for a walk. I'd like to go to such a pilgrimage. They say such things, worldly things, which originate from desire. But they say so. Realized souls. If you say their karma has totally dissolved, then they can't live. But we see in the fact of life and history that realized souls, having realized oneness with God, come back to the world again by God's will to serve God's purposes. What is that purpose? To be a beacon to others, a light for others, that it is possible. If they die away, I know nothing what happened to him. They will explain to you in words what has happened to them. They will plead with you, they'll argue with you, and then they will say, if you believe me, you will reach there. If you don't believe me, I don't know how to help you. That's what they do. Shiyante means it is not totally obliterated. Karma remains till the purpose of having this body is fulfilled. Let me come back to the principles now. This body is born, decided by God where it should be born, when it should be born, who should be the parents, and where should be the place and time. At God's discretion, and He does not share this secret with anybody. It is His exclusive privilege. Janma, that is birth, Mrityu, that is death, and Vivaha is wedding. These three are made in heaven by God, and He doesn't share His secrets. This body is born because of heaps and heaps of karma that have done in the past. Of those heaps and heaps and heaps of karma, some of them were performed with due involvement of my mind. Because of my involvement, it is strong. And I did something just because of it. The Karupaphala is not strong. Karupaphala is strong by my involvement. More involved I am, the Karupaphala is strong. The more uninvolved I am, disinterested I am, but I do, the Karupaphala is not strong. So what happens? The force of the Karupaphala, resultant force of the Karupaphala, is the cause of my birth. And while working, living in this world, I, like a stupid ass, keep on adding to it because of my ego. By my good karma, by the grace of the divine and by the punya phala of my parents and etc., 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 and some shubha karma that I might have done, altogether I become spiritually oriented. That is what it is. I become spiritually oriented. And by God's grace, seeing that I am working very, very, very hard, God becomes compassionate, charitable, He opens up. And He shows His benign face to me and I become one with him. Some of us cannot stand that experience. The force, the trauma of that experience is so we die of shock. As we know, doctors say, oh, he died of shock. It was such a shocking thing, he died. So what happens? Within that 21 days of experiencing, like a leaf which dries away in a tree and falls off, this body falls off, and the Shukshma Sharira merges with the Panchabhuta, and he merges with God. Atma goes. The river water blends with the ocean water, irretrievably, inseparably. Others, what happened to a handful? God decides, I will make use of such a person. And he's given that capacity to hold that traumatic experience of oneness with God. And after that, he is like an ordinary human being. But inwardly what has happened? He sees God everywhere. He behaves like a human, but he knows it is all a dream. The reality is the divine, and he interacts with the divine in million forms and helps each and every soul to reach that goal. And there's a beautiful example of such a realized soul. Let me quote it from you. It is in Vivek Chudamani. It says, Shanta Mohantaha Nivasanti Santaha Vasantavat Loka Hitaya Charantaha Tvina Swayam Bhima Bhavarnavam Janan Anyana Hetunan Api Tarayanta. This is Acharya Shankara describing himself. But he was an avatara, he was describing a Brahmagya Purusha, a man who has realized the divinity in him. What does he say? Shanta Moha Anta. A man who is Shanta Dhira, absolutely tranquil, serene, poised. Nothing in this world can disturb him. He is always absolutely immersed in the awareness of presence of the divine. Shantaha. Moha antaha. Moha is delusion, confused thinking. What we have has totally gone. Shanta moha antaha. Nivasanti santa. They live in this world as a normal, ordinary human being to look at. But there is a sea change, total change within him. But the form remains the same. Nivasanti santaya. Santaha. How do they? Basantavat loka hitaya charanta. After very intense, dreary winter, when spring comes, Vasanta Ritu, when spring comes, the whole world is alive again. He brings that life of eternity to the world. Charanta. He keeps on roaming around. Shanto Mahantaha Nivasanti Santaha Basantavat Loka Hitaya Charanta. For the welfare of the many, for the happiness of the many. And Tvina Swayam Bhima Bhavarnavam. He has gone across the tempestuous ocean of birth and death. Bhima Bhava Arnava. Arnava is an ocean, Bhima is dangerous, Bhava is in this world. Horrible, full of danger, full of pitfalls. He has gone beyond it. Trina means he has gone across the waves. And why does he live? Janan, Anyan, Ahetunan, Api Tarayanta. Anyan Janan, all other humans who wants to reach the other shore. Ahetunan, without expecting any return, out of sheer love and compassion, he holds them by their hand and takes them across. This is a sign and symptom of a realized soul, which is being said here in the Upanishad. Vidyate hridaya granthi, chidyante sarva samsaya, shiyante chasya karmani, tasmin drishte parabare. He sees that eternal being both in the gross and in the subtle and beyond both, beyond the causal. He is constantly aware of the divine, but a little karma remains till the body remains. Prarabdha karma only ends when it has been experienced. Prarabdha apakshiyate. Prarabdha upabhogena iva apakshiyate. Nanyatha koti kalpa shatairapipa. Prarabdha karma which has brought to your body will only stay that long as it has been destined to stay. So Swamiji gave a very brilliant example of a realized soul. What was that example? There's an axle and two wheels, and it is rolling down on the rail, gathering momentum and rolling down. Somebody cuts the axle in the center and makes it two. Immediately it will fall down and continue to roll for a while and stop. Prarabdha is that. It will cut down when it will have to stop. Prarabdham upabhogainaiva apakshiyate nanyatha. You have to suffer it. That much of prarabdha is kept in that realized soul by the will of God to help others. Janan, Anyan, Apicha, Tarayanta. So we have studied the 9th shloka, which gives you what will happen to you, gives you this description. What will happen to you if you are a realized soul? This desire of desiring worldly things, which binds me in knots and knots and knots, that desire will disappear. Vidyate hridaya granthi. All the knots in my heart will disappear. Chidyante sarva samsaya. There will be no trace of doubt in your mind that you have seen God and be with Him. And shiyante chasya karmani, and all the karma which is the cause of janma and mrityu, punarabhritti, all that janma mrityu cycle will disappear when you have identified yourself with that which is in the absolute form, in this manifested form. When you have identified yourself with that. Dear, 3 more shlokas remain of this khanda, Ditya khanda of Ditya Mundaka. All the 3 are descriptive, but suggestive of your sadhana, instructive. We'll study that later on. Thank you, dears. Thank you. May God bless us all and let us enjoy the essence of this study. Thank you.
Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna